Hello everybody, it's Nick here again. This time I finally, after I think 3 hours, managed to implement this bloody thing. Okay, so it was a challenge that Steve brought up. So when a player dies, it's yeah, like to make it respawn so that it's far away from other players, right? So after a ton of failing and testing, so I positioned 3 player starts, one that is really far, and 2 that are really close to each other for testing it, and ignore the amount of obnoxious if checks that I put, but I really needed to understand what the hell was going on because it was really bugging me. So at the start, whatever, like we start even close to each other, but whenever a player is killed, the player starts. They have a collision sphere, which detects like which skeletal mesh ECC underscore skeletal mesh that we use for the characters is nearby, and it will determine if it's a suitable spawn location. Now, for example, that guy. Ah, yeah, sorry, actually there's also a player start over there. So there's 2 there and 2 here. And yeah, those are far enough that if I kill him here, from here, he will have to respawn over there or over there. There is no way he's gonna respawn here. But it will attempt to make him respawn here. It's just not gonna work. Now he died. Yes, and he respawned up there. And you can see in the UE log is like number of overlapping actors found 0, but sometimes the game will attempt to respawn him here, and then you will see overlapping characters too. Yes, there you go. See, number of overlapping actors found equals 2, which means, I don't know if you can see the UE log, but that's what it says. Basically, the game probably tried to respawn him in either this location or that location where the other one is. But obviously it didn't manage. Sorry, let me lower the volume of the desktop so that you can probably hear me better when I'm shooting. Yes, so it probably tried to respawn him either here or here, but it was like, oh, there are 2 actors nearby, so I will respawn him somewhere else, and that's where he respawned him at. And now I can try this again. Yes, did exactly the same. Tried to, again, spawn him here, but obviously there is me and the other guy, so it didn't manage. But now the big question is, what happens if, well, there is that guy which covers both spawns, and I kill this guy, and here, in this area, I cover both spawns as well. So what happens is, yep, I tried to loop through, like, all of them. So I tried to loop through all of the player starts, and it detected that there was 1 character on each player start, and it basically will loop for 10 times. That's how I set it. And if at the 10th time it doesn't manage to find a spot, there is a default spawn location, which is this one, where the character will restart. And I made that edit anywhere, so you can put it wherever you want, but in my case, for just testing purposes, I put it here. I would put it in a more hidden area, actually, like I will show you. For example, I could very easily, let's say, do this. I'm just gonna put in a light here, right? So I put a light in here, and I'm just gonna click on it, grab the location of it, and I put in the Blaster game mode. There you go. This is it. I will show you how it was done. And then now if I start, okay, those 2 are closed now. So, well, if I kill him, technically, well, I am here, so I'm covering these 2, and the other guy is covering those 2. So if I kill him, he will have to respawn for sure into the default spawn area. And yes, he did. As you can see, he is right there where the light is. So if I kill him again, he should again respawn there. Oh no, okay, well now I was far enough. Yeah, I was far enough that the collision didn't detect me because I was here. And yeah, the collision I think reaches about here. So I was far enough from it. But now if I kill him again and I stay sort of in the middle, it will detect me again. Yes, and no suitable spawn location was found after it looped through them. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Perfect. Oh my god, it's working. Sick. Okay, yeah, so the guy is down there now. Now, how does this work? Oh my god, boy. This was intense. I'm a total noob, so it took me quite a while. Yes, ignore this. This was the old function. I just want to delete it in case I mess something up. Right, this is exactly the same. Here, obviously, it will change. Let's start from character.h. So I made a uProperty edit defaults only, which is a float nearby radius, and I initialized it at 500.f. This is gonna be the radius of the collision sphere around the player start. Now this is very little. It's 500 units, like in real units. I made it way bigger, like in the defaults only thingy. You will see it. But yeah, in the blueprint, but yeah, for now I initialize it to that. And here you have default location. This is the location of the well, if it fails to spawn the player, it will spawn him at that specific location. So this is always good to have. If you don't have this, the default location set, like in the case where it loops 10 times and it cannot find a free player start, the engine will freeze or crash. In my case, it froze, so I had to find another solution. But you need to expose this to Blueprint because you might want to set it up. Now I initialized it to this. I'll actually honestly put it back to 0 because whatever. I want to change it later to actually a location in the air, so that whatever, if I don't set it in Blueprint, it will spawn the player like somewhere in the air, so that, yeah, I prefer it that way. Then let's begin. So it's the array of actors, which is the player starts. Then you can play statics, it gets all actors of class, blah 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 blah. This is obviously, you know, it gets the player starts in the level. Then this is a const int32 max attempts. Now this is the number of attempts that the for loop will do in order to find a suitable spawn location, and if it won't, we'll see what happens. So this is the selection. So if math rand range 0 and player starts num -1 to avoid crashes. At vector start location, there's player start selection get actor location. Fair enough, that's what Steve did, if I recall correctly. Then check for nearby players. The array f overlap results, overlaps obviously, f collision query params, ns query params at add ignore actor elimed character. So it will ignore the elimed character, because otherwise the collision will go like, oh, there is already a character here, which is you respawning, and it will detect you as a character in the area, which is not cool. So we don't want that, so we add ignored actor elimed character because it's handy and it makes sense. So then query params btrace complex true. So if you go peek the definition here, whether we should trace against complex collision, which makes sense to have it. Then get world overlap multi by object type. So this is actually the scan, right? So we get the overlaps, which, let's remember, where is it? Oh, there it is. Is the array of overlap results. Then we get the start location, right? Just the player starts. Then we have an fquat identity, collision object query params, ECC skeletal mesh. If you put ECC pon, it will ignore it because we, of course, made our skeletal mesh, which means that you need to include the blaster.h here, because otherwise it's not going to work. So we have this collision, the skeletal mesh, and then we have f collision shape, make sphere, nearby radius, which is this. And then we have the query params, right? Which is going to be add ignored, actor, blah, 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 and btrace complex true. So if you hover over it, it will tell you exactly what kind of parameters it requires. And then I have a UE log set here, which this is going to tell me the number of overlapping actors found, right? That's how it works. It's gonna return, obviously, the overlaps num, and well, you can see how many it's overlapping. If no nearby players are found, see respawn at the current player start and exit the loop. So if the overlaps.num is equal to 0, then okay, restart player at player start, and it takes the limb controller and the player start selection. And I also got a UE log to tell me like that the respawn was successful for this guy, and you get the limb controller, get name, perfect, and return. If no suitable spawn location is found, however, after it loops 10 times over, we get a UE log, obviously, no suitable spawn location found for player, whatever, same story. So if we reach here, it means it didn't find a suitable location. And then we get, I had to put a local F rotator, default rotation, I just initialized it to 0. And here, restart player at transform. So limb controller, F transform, default rotation, default location. Now, this is important because this is the area where I put the light and I respawned my player there. So this I expose it to Blueprint. So when you compile and you go to the BB Blaster game mode, the Blueprint, obviously, here you find these two, which one of them is nearby radius. I put it in 3000 in my case. So you can put the radius to whatever you want. I think a big radius makes sense because it will scan. Like otherwise, someone can just be 10 meters away and just wait there, you know. Like, and it could be that it spawns you there and you get killed again. Like, so you get spawn camped. And then this is the default location. So here you can set it up to where you want to spawn your character. And in my case, I wanted it to spawn here in case it doesn't find anything. Obviously you can move it, like I'm just using this light as a, as a place where I can just spawn it. So you can select, you can select it, grab the location, then you can go in here, you can paste it, you can compile and save. Okay, and now I am in this area. Okay, I'm not a fan. I usually rather respawn on the other side and then just because I have good line of sight to that. I'm just gonna go there. Okay, so I killed this guy, let's say. Perfect. I love that sound. Okay, so he spawned over there. So which means if I kill this guy now, he should technically not be able to respawn anywhere and it will just spawn down there. Yes, there you go. So now he respawned down there. Because, as you can see in the UE log, the UE log is saying that it tried 10 times in these 4 locations, 4 player starts I have, but they were all occupied by an actor. By a player, so it was like, no suitable spawn location found, so I will spawn him down there, because why not? Now, if I go down there, he's gonna of course spawn him in one of those 2 areas, because those are free. Right? Makes sense. And it works. Now if I... Jesus Christ. My god, this blasted projectile. Okay, never mind. Just doesn't want to go through. Okay, I killed him again. Technically, he should have enough. Yes, he has enough area to respawn there. Now, I think I'll put a line of sight blocker because it's way too open, the map, and you really have the chance of just killing people like over and over just by spawn camping, because there are some areas where you have really good LOS. But now technically I kill him, he cannot respawn, he will just spawn back down there. Yes, okay, so it works. So let's analyze it once again. Right. Yeah, by the way, this is the for loop, like, is basically you get like an int32, which is 0, and max attempt. Like if it's smaller than max attempts, then it will keep, you know, like it will keep adding up like attempts until it reaches 10, and then it was like, it's gonna be like, okay, so I couldn't find a start location, so it's gonna boot the player at that location you specify here with the rotation. I didn't really care about the rotation. Yeah, I mean, make sure you have a good look at it so that you can replicate the function, but that's pretty much it.